Welcome back to a Numbers on the Board YouTube exclusive.
Numbers on the board, yes!
Last offseason, or last All-Star game in Indianapolis 2024, we saw 4 different first-time All-Stars, which is one of the lowest numbers in recent history. But every year we see some new people step up to All-Stardom. Today, my question to y'all is who's next on that list? Who will be a first-time All-Star in 2025?
Number one, I know it's obvious, Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
I think Vic this year, he had a case to even make it this year as a rookie. But I think next year he's going to be more solidified. He's going to come in way more polished. He's not going to have, that rookie beginning that a lot of rookies go through. You're definitely seeing a more polished Vic towards the second half of the season. And I think next year he's going to be even more of a problem.
You think he's a lock, would you say? Even if his team is not that much better?
I think so, because Karl-Anthony Towns made it, and I think next year Vic will probably bump Cat out. That's
Cat,
probably,
take that as inspiration. You hear Big D Millie talk about you're not good enough anymore.
not that.
I think we're going to see more. I think we're going to see less of this first-time All-Star because I think the guys who are ushering in are still young because a lot of the guys who have held it down are older. So keep an eye on that. But some candidates that come to my mind, Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder, J-Dub, and then Alperen Sengun from the Houston Rockets. Those are two guys that I can see along with Wemby, obviously. But I don't think we're going to have year-to-year overwhelming amount.
It's going to have to be injuries that make it happen.
Yeah. Kate Cunningham, depending on how the Detroit Pistons are.
Looking at the players out east because it feels like those are the ones that are most able to move, right? Yeah. You do have some locks, but it feels like the West, it feels like it is just so stacked. It's hard to get into that mix.
But who on the East would be the first-time All-Star?
What about Kobe White?
Hey, probably not, but hell yeah,
he's starting to go into that mix. He's looking like he was in 20-point score.
With Kate Cunningham.
He do.
Give me Kobe White.
Yeah.
But the Wizards don't got nobody that's jumping out. I think Brandon Miller is still a couple years away from hitting that All-Star level with the Hornets. The Raptors, is Emmanuel quickly putting together an All-Star year next year?
Tough to see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference don't feel like they have a bunch of young talent that could take that big jump.
Yeah,
because again, they have to knock out other people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. You have to knock people out to make it happen. Giannis is a lock to make it every single season.
Tyler
Jason
Hero?
Tatum.
I think Paulo's now become a guy who's probably going to be a lock.
Franz Wagner?
I thought about Franz Wagner too, but then they probably have to get 2.
They do take another leap. Maybe they do get 2 next season.
He's got to find his jump shot again to make that happen. It's been a struggle year. Out East is kind of hard to find somebody that might be a first-timer. Out West, it seems easier. Y'all name 3 people, but also the people that they're competing with is insane. Let me read you the list of All-Stars this year. This year, there was 0 first-time All-Stars for the Western Conference. LeBron.
0 first time.
Huh?
0 first time.
0 first-timers. LeBron, it don't matter if LeBron's averaging 2 PPG. LeBron is going to be a goddamn All-Star, right?
And a starter.
Absolutely.
Luka Doncic.
Yep.
Kevin Durant. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yoke. Devin Booker's a guy that's been on the outside looking in on some of these cases, but he's so good as long as he's healthy. He's averaging 27. He's probably a lock. Steph Curry, probably a lock. Anthony Davis missed it last year because of injury, but if he's healthy, going to be a lock. Anthony Edwards has become a lock, like Kawhi Leonard, lock.
Don't forget about injured guys like Ja Morant.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot Ja was coming back.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be hard to find those, but I feel like I've said this last year, and then we end up 4 new guys. Part of that is Joel Embiid being out with his injury.
Yep.
He couldn't play, so we got an injury replacement in Scotty Barnes. But there's a decent amount of talent. One name that you mentioned that I absolutely love is J-Dub.
Yeah.
I think J-Dub is poised for a good playoff run to open the eyes to the general public of who he is as a player. And if he continues to get better, which he has done the entirety of his career, I could see him definitely making it next year.
Yeah, it's extremely tough to get in there as a first-timer because even the guys that didn't make it this year, they're liable to make it. Kyrie Irving wasn't an All-Star this year. Domantas Sabonis was not an All-Star this year.
Yeah.
These are heavy hitter guys that didn't make the All-Star game. And it's
crazy to see Sabonis not on there.
You feel me?
He had a career year.
Yeah.
He was almost averaging a triple-double, and he was not an All-Star.
So as a guy who's trying to become a first-timer, you're dealing with the other young talent. You want to stand out amongst your peers. You're dealing with the perennial guys who have done this since before you were in the NBA, like Kevin Durant, Steph, LeBron, all of those guys, Giannis. And then you're dealing with the guys who have been perennials, but are liable to not make it in certain years. So it's so much that you're competing against.
And this is I feel like for J-Dub too, you got to have 2 All-Stars on the team because obviously Shai's probably going to get in as a lock. Another guy that I feel like probably not as close as the names we mentioned, but I feel like he's Desmond Bane always puts up really good numbers. I know he's right next to Ja, but they've been times where it's been top 3 seeds, and maybe if they could sneak in and get 2, I could see him try to get in there. Maybe it's an injury replacement or something like that.
Desmond Bane is an all-star player in my opinion.
He was having an all-star caliber season this year, but then he got hurt, and then obviously he wasn't able to be.
Zion didn't make an all-star game this year.
Yeah,
it's like it's
Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram will also always be an all-star caliber talent. Will he make it consecutively? Probably not.
There's some names that like need a big jump to make it happen. Like Evan Mobley. He was an all-star trajectory for the first bit of his career. I think a lot of people have kind of turned off by Evan Mobley now. But hey, he's starting to shoot more 3-point shots, which is something we've been asking for.
I think
so.
Evan
Maybe
Mobley's
it's possible.
He just probably needs a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Or Evan Mobley's just going to be a really good player and maybe not ever
hit that stardom.
There was generational talk for him when he first.
Yeah, man.
And again, you're right.
He looked
though.
like a young Tim Duncan at one point.
It could
I'm
be
like,
time,
whoa,
because he is still extremely young. What is Evan Mobley? 22,
maybe.
So, it's a fun conversation to have. But it makes me excited because it means that the parity is going in the right direction. There's a lot of young talent. Our old talent is aging gracefully, and not how we've seen it in the 2010s and the 2000s, where a lot of the guys we grew up on are kind of falling off a cliff. We still got guys who are 35 plus years old. Competing to be all-star starters. So this is a good time to be an NBA fan. The Melting Pot is definitely getting better and better. And I don't know, it's interesting because the more people who become first-timers mean that those older guys potentially have seen their last All-Star game. Has Kyrie Irving seen his last All-Star game?
That is not out of the realm of possibility, which is
but
crazy.
I also think Kyrie's just also one of those dudes that he might not make it, but you know how good he is.
Yeah, that'll never be a question.
Absolutely.
And he's only 31. So, like, maybe he does have a few more in him, but, like, realistically, he's just not going to outplay a lot of those guards. He's not going to outplay his co-guy, Luka, Shea, Steph.
Right.
Like,
in order to get
Edwards,
2 All-Stars, a lot of cases, either you have to have 2 of the top 10-ish players or be really, really, really good.
So that's why, with that said, with the names you name, I'm the biggest Kyrie fan up here. Is it possible that we've seen his last All-Star appearance?
Yeah, maybe. Unless Dallas is all of a sudden the 1 seed.
That's what I would hope for. I would love to see a Kyrie in an All-Star game. He's an All-Star game MVP before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think he won it twice, actually. So
what if we got a year where Jamal was averaging like 25 or something like that?
Then you got to think about the guys.
He was a guy coming into the season. A lot of us was like, oh, he's going to make an All-Star appearance, and then he averaged 20 again and had some injuries, and he wasn't even really in conversations.
Then there's also people who, the consumer, the media, NBA fans, there's been growth. We've evolved because decades ago it was about PPG. There's Darrick White.
He got buzz
for All-Star because it's impact. Draymond Green has made All-Star games averaging less than 10 points.
Yes, he has.
So the NBA consumer media fan is starting to wake up and not only just look at PPG either. So you got those other players who are impactful and do winning things that people will probably start to appreciate if they're on a really good team. So it's just an interesting conversation all around.
Have we seen James Harden have his last All-Star game?
Probably. Yep.
Unless he ends up going back to the Eastern Conference. He goes back to the East, anything is really possible.
Yeah.
They have a few spots.
LaMelo.
LaMelo got to play some basketball to make it again.
Yeah. When he's on the court, he's All-Star. But
that's a crazy thing to think about.
What, James
there
Harden?
are certain players that we didn't realize that was their last All-Star appearance.
It's like they say, there was one time you went outside with your friends, and that was the last time y'all all went outside.
Imagine being able to remember that last day.
Oh, man.
I don't remember what we did.
You can't, because if you did, y'all would have came out the next day. If some crazy shit popped off to bring y'all outside, or it was memorable, it would have brought y'all back outside, at least to discuss. Man, yesterday was crazy.
Wow. Hey, let us know in the comment section. Who's the first-time All-Star that we missed for 2025? And we'll see y'all soon. Peace.